Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful time out there. We are back again with another SCP reading stream. The last few were not actually streamed, they were edited, so it's good to be back with the unedited format just to do it all over just in the raw. But if people like the edited version, I'll try sticking to it for the future. But anyway, on with raw. SCP-083, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-083 is to be kept under constant video surveillance, with at least one Level 3 staff member on call at all times to respond to security breaches. Entrance to SCP-083 is permissible to Level 1 and 2 personnel with proper clearances, provided they wear a tracking device while inside. Description: SCP-083 appears to be an uninhabited two-story row house in the general state of disrepair, with an interior of approximately 366 square meters. It is located in the blank block of blank. The deed and property tax records of the address are missing after blank. The last persons to reside at the address were the blank family, but data expunged. Until acquisition by the Foundation, the property was the reputed office for local narcotics dealers who gained entry to the structure through a front window. Since the locking mechanisms on the front and back doors were corroded and frozen shut, SCP-083 first came to the Foundation's attention on blank when an altercation outside the building resulted in the front door being kicked in by data expunged. Those who entered through the door of SCP-083, Group A, allegedly found themselves inside a fully furnished and well-maintained home with functioning electricity and a fully stocked kitchen, whose appliances and decor appeared to be from the early 20th century. Personnel who entered through the windows, Group B, described the interior as dark and dilapidated, corresponding to the view through the windows. Personnel in Group A also reported that they couldn't see, hear, or find any members of Group B inside the house, or of anyone else besides themselves. Group B observed that members of Group A seemed to vanish into thin air upon crossing the door's threshold. Both groups inside the property not only described very different living conditions, but their descriptions didn't even correspond to the same floor plan. Their descriptions matched only in the relative positions of the windows. Since both groups saw the same street view, personnel entered the house, however, reported only seeing members of Group B. These observations were repeatedly tested and confirmed by staff, with the additional finding that the rear door of SCP-083 leads to the furnished interior. Any non-conventional entry, i.e. windows, holes in the roof, down the chimney, etc., lead to the dilapidated interior, and persons inside the different interiors are unable to detect each other's presence. Although they both register on standard spectral imaging equipment as long as said equipment is outside SCP-083. It was also discovered that the furnished interior is not static. The floor plan of SCP-083 apparently changes, with a different layout and different numbers and kinds of rooms manifesting. See document 083-A. No clear pattern or set interval has been observed in the rearrangement of the interior of SCP-083, but the phenomenon has never been directly observed or experienced by personnel while inside SCP-083. See summary of Experiment 083-3, listed as Document 083-C. So long as a human presence exists inside, the floor plan seems to remain stable. Although the furnished interior appears to be well maintained, no inhabitants or custodians have ever been detected. Addendum: It is being recommended that SCP-083 be evaluated as a possible autonomous object. Document 083-A. 19 walkthroughs of SCP-083 have been conducted to date, blank, and each has produced a unique floor plan with a combination of total sorry, with a combination total of 154 different rooms, with 17 of those rooms present on more than one walkthrough, though in different locations. See document 083-B. The rooms conform to a variety of decorative styles representative of major artistic trends as of late 19th and 20th centuries, complete with era-appropriate furnishing and technology. However, each of these 19 floor plans still equaled 366 square meters of space, and in each walkthrough, the front door has so far consistently led directly to the same Victorian front parlor, designated FP-0. The rear door data expunged. Addendum to number 084-A. Upon comparative analysis of all recorded floor plans of SCP-083, it has been observed that the small door in the north wall of FP-0 always opens to reveal a closet, though the dimensions and contents of the closet have varied considerably. A teal and white Dulux convertible upright Hoover vacuum cleaner has been observed among the contents over 60% of the time. It is unknown why of the three doors leading from FP0, this one and the Hoover vacuum within has shown such a high level of conservation when none of the others have. Document 083-C Summary of Experiment 083-3. On blank, Dr. Blank Blank entered SCP-083 through the front door and set up 3 digital video cameras. One was placed in the middle of FP0, a second camera on the first floor between DR2 and K4, and a third camera in the basement room ST1. Personnel entering through FP0 window A were unable to confirm the existence of any of the rooms, nor of the 3 cameras, though the cameras' locations inside SCP-083 were externally confirmed with EM sensors. Observation was conducted for a period of 48 hours, during which time no personnel were allowed to enter. No movement within SCP-083 or any of the rooms were observed, and the camera locations remained fixed. After 48 hours, agents were sent in to retrieve the 3 cameras, but only found one, the camera in FP-0, at its electrically confirmed location. The other 2 cameras and the rooms in which they were placed were gone, with different rooms in their place. Despite this, the EM sensors continued to detect the electrical signatures of the other 2 cameras, indicating that they had not shifted position at all. Sweeps of SCP-083 were made hourly for the next 36 hours, and although further room rearrangements were noted, neither of the rigged rooms appeared. And after 36 hours, the signals diminished below detection thresholds, possibly due to power loss in the 2 missing cameras. 3 weeks later, ST-1 reoccurred on the second floor and its camera was recovered with a dead battery. The 3rd camera remains missing. Note on 083-C Memo. Dr. Blank Blank requested and was granted permission to repeat Experiment 083-3, catalogued as Experiment 083-5, which resulted in the similar inexplicable loss of 6 more cameras. While the Foundation is committed to the pursuit of scientific discovery, it has been decided to abandon further experimentation of this type on SCP-083 until a way can be found to do it without overdrafting the department's budget in order to replace disappeared equipment. Dr. Blank Blank. Document 083-D. On blank, Agent Blank conducted a walkthrough of SCP-083 and reported evidence of food preparation, describing a sound like banging pots and pans and the smell of cooking meat. Agent Blank was unable to localize the source of the phenomena, nor even to find a kitchen. Agent Blank did eventually encounter a dining room, designated DR-8, but it was clearly in a state of non-use. Agent Blank estimated the sounds and smells persisted for approximately 20 minutes before fading away. There were no other signs of intruders. Document number 083-E. On Blank, smoke was observed emanating from SCP-083's chimney. Agent Blank was dispatched to investigate and found the location designated SR-12 with burning embers in the fireplace. SR-12 has been previously documented on SCP-083 in internal surveys 5 and 6, but in both prior encounters the fireplace was cold and swept clean. Agent Blank recovered a partially burned fragment of newspaper from the fireplace, data expunged, as well as the nub of a blank cigar. A sweep of SCP-083 found no other evidence of intruders, and a review of video surveillance confirmed no one else entering or leaving the house aside from appropriate personnel at expected intervals. Agent Blank remained on site until the fire went out, at which point smoke emanations ceased and did not reoccur. Agent Blank made no alterations to SR-12 and left the premises at blank 24 hours later. Agent Blank returned to SCP-083, but SR-12 was no longer present and has not been found on 3 subsequent walkthroughs. Analysis of the blank cigar did not produce any DNA, but did yield data expunged. Addendum. Recommended SCP-083 be evaluated for upgrade to Euclid status. Approved. Blank, blank, blank. Let's see, who has talked in chat? Oh boy, it is a spam bot. What lovely times. Allow me to quickly ban them and report them. Do. Report. Spam and bots. Bots. Read. Chat. Submit report. Thank you for submitting report. Block user. There we go. Apologies for that. All right. Next is SCP-084. SCP-084, item number SCP-084, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-084 is currently under a full non-interaction order until the full extent of the admission waves has been evaluated. For detailed documentation on general FNI orders, see document XRG-1182. For detailed documentation on FNI orders in relation to SCP-083, see document XRG-1208A. A continuous surveillance watch is to be maintained around the active area of SCP-084 with the primary objective of civilian misdirection and external surveillance. With no major roads, trails, or other travel routes nearby, any civilians encountered approaching SCP-084 are deemed suspect and detained for evaluation. Under no circumstances are any Foundation or civilian personnel allowed into the active area of SCP-084, except with express vocal and written permission of no more than 2 members of O5 Command. Sentries are to maintain their posted position with line-of-sight contact checks on fellow sentries, in conjunction with compass and landmark checking. All reference points should be well outside the active area of SCP-084. Should any entry fail to report in via vocal roll call, full recall orders will be issued to all sentries and containment will be reevaluated by special response teams. In the event of active area fluctuation, full recall orders are to be assumed by all active sentries, followed by appropriate action. No form of radio, GPS, television, cell phone, video camera, still picture camera, or other recording or electronic media devices are permitted within 100 meters of the active area around SCP-084. Civilians found with such devices within this area are to have said devices confiscated and destroyed immediately. Any recordings collected, data expunged. Description: SCP-084 appears to be a large radio tower positioned in the center of a large open field with two small outbuildings. Direct observation and sample collection from SCP-084 is impossible due to the effect that is emitted around/from SCP-084. SCP-084 appears to emit a form of wave or radiation that has a detrimental effect on the local space-time reality. The most pronounced aspect of this is the alteration of the local space within the active area of SCP-084. Externally, the active area forms a rough dome shape of 200 meters in diameter. SCP-084 appears inside this area at random points, appearing to jump at random times, sometimes even appearing in multiple locations at once inside the active area. Internally, the space appears to be unlimited, with SCP-084 at the center. SCP-084 is impossible to reach due to the emitted effect. Attempts to approach SCP-084 within the active area have returned to the observation that SCP-084 retains its relative position on the horizon, even after 3 months and 12 days of dedicated direct travel, both by vehicle and on foot. Termination tests have proved impossible, as no means of destruction are capable of physically reaching SCP-084, even when entered from outside the active area. Local space will also distort periodically. This will cause relative distances to randomly extend or contract in a flicker, causing buildings or objects to suddenly jump thousands of meters away or rush up to other points, sometimes even causing overlaps. These overlaps have a markedly detrimental effect on living tissue. The town of blank blank is assumed to have been situated in or around the original manifestation of the active area. The town is no longer observable from outside the active area, appearing only once inside the active area. Blank blank has maintained the same population, 343 humans, for the duration of its encapsulation. Births appear to be impossible along with normal aging patterns. Suicide or homicide appear to be circumvented by the area of effect, with dead subjects flickering and appearing alive and unharmed several seconds after death. There are also reports of events rewinding, causing things like mortal wounds to visibly freeze and close. Subjects appear to exhibit many events of inconsistent space-time, as do most structures. For detailed observations, see log 084-A4. Electronic devices and recording equipment do not function correctly in or around the active area. Subjects report bizarre or unsettling transmissions from video and audio recording and playback devices. This acts to totally isolate blank blank from the outside world, precluding any need for Foundation enacted containment. It also appears impossible to leave the active area after a random period of time. One subject from blank blank found on the grass plain, see log 084-A4, reported he had been traveling for 6 years. He was found approximately 400 meters from the blank blank city limits. We're now going to check out the link for appearing to jump at random times. And it is another SCP, SCP-2675. We might get to that another day. What else do we have? Log 084-A4. Record of observed anomalies or anomalous events related to SCP-084. Log 084A4. Record of observed anomalies. No, we already read that. We read that last time. Yeah, we'll skip over that. Detailed observation made of the grass plain making up the majority of the active area. The plain appears to be made of one 10-meter by 10-meter section of grass, repeated endlessly to make up the plain. Sections appear to be randomly rotated as they are formed, causing sections of grass and small ground variations to line up incorrectly. Few non-human organisms appear to exist within the active area. Those outside the active area avoid it and appear to vanish shortly after entering. Animals observed inside the active area appear normal but behave strangely. Shuddering movements, sudden shivering, repetitive loops, and other abnormal actions appear to indicate that these may not be actual animals. Most animals appear to flicker and vanish after 3 to 4 hours. Vocal communication is difficult within the active area. Vocal communication appears normal within 5 meters of the speaking subject, with reports of slightly muffled quality reported commonly. Outside of 5 meters, subjects appear to be speaking from a great distance with a great deal of echoing. Reports of speech being heard several seconds after the subject has stopped speaking, and speech occurring with no subject speaking are also not uncommon. Detailed observation of the radio tower is impossible due to the inability to physically reach it, and the effect of the broadcast on most observational equipment. Basic telescope or binocular systems show the tower to be hazy and static fogged, while more advanced equipment is subject to the anomalous broadcast effect. Weather patterns as well as basic day or night cycles appear to be totally random. Overhead sky will randomly cycle between day, night, clear, and other weather patterns. Relative sun and cloud positions appear random as well, with frequent flickering and blurring between different states. Physical alteration or damage to anything within the active area is impossible. Actions such as digging and demolition and new construction will suddenly blur and be reset to their previous unaltered state at random points. Subjects inside a reset structure, such as inside a hole, will become instantly trapped and fused. Subjects in the active area around SCP-084 exhibit some of the more striking and easily observed reality distortion effects. These include sudden blurring of head and limbs, appearing to suddenly gyrate at high speeds for several seconds before ending. Subjects experience no pain and often are unaware of this phenomenon. Looping, typical manifestation as the repeat of 8 to 20 seconds of time. Subjects will go through an action, example, exiting a doorway, picking up an article of clothing, then suddenly freeze and flicker, then return to the original starting position of the loop. And repeat the action, even if this involves sudden teleportation of significant distance. Rarely, subjects appear to become caught in a permanent loop. Observation and interrogation of subjects in blank blank show that basic human needs such as food, water, and sleep are no longer required after prolonged exposure to the active area. Some subjects report not having eaten or drank for, they believe, 5 years. One elderly subject also reports having made 2,110 unsuccessful suicide attempts. Subjects will sometimes be able to pass through solid matter without incident. These periods appear to last for random periods of time and begin and end without warning. Subjects inside solid matter when the period ends will become trapped or fused until the period resumes. One subject reports being trapped below the waist in a wall for 2 years. Extreme psychological distress is observed after long-term exposure. The transmissions of data expunged barrier, which is compromised over long-term exposure. Subject in advanced reception states typically reset after several months. Recorded transmissions show a slight data expunged cycles overall. Attempting to catalog and record these broadcasts has therefore been remanded to autonomous systems to preclude any additional loss of Foundation personnel. And that is the end of SCP-084. On to SCP-085. SCP-085 Object Class Safe Special Containment Procedures. Revised on blank blank blank. SCP-085 is to be contained in a single chalk white bond drawing pad in a secure containment facility. Supervised contact with SCP-085 is unrestricted to all personnel with Level 2 access. All personnel coming into contact with SCP-085 are subject to searches and random psychanalysis upon entering or leaving the containment area. Absolutely no paper or canvas media is allowed to exit SCP-085's containment room. Any paper trash must be disposed of by incineration after careful inspection. Paper and art supplies are to be brought in only by authorized personnel. In case of fire, flames are smothered using a rapid atmospheric replacement and a CO2 dumping system. Personnel are advised to quickly secure an oxygen mask and tank from the wall at the first sign of smoke or fire to prevent asphyxiation, as this procedure cannot be halted until all fires are suppressed. Description: SCP-085 is the result of an experiment conducted between SCP-067 and SCP-914 using SCP-067. Using SCP-067, test subject 1101-F drew a female figure about 15 centimeters 6 inches in height and 3.8 centimeters 1.5 inch wide, in a summer dress with long hair pulled back into a ponytail with the name Cassandra written underneath. Dr. Expunged proposed using SCP-914 on various settings on images created by SCP-067. Using the Fine setting, the Cassandra sketch was transmuted into her present form, a sentient black and white animated young woman drawn in clear strokes. Further attempts to duplicate this result have been unsuccessful. SCP-085 prefers to be called Cassie. She is completely sentient and is, as of blank blank blank, aware of her 2D form and her limitations in a 3D world. Although her voice is inaudible, she has learned to communicate with Foundation personnel through sign language and writing. SCP-085 may be communicated with by writing on the paper she exists on. Personnel report that she is amicable and motivated, albeit lonely. SCP-085 can interact with any drawn object on the same page as if it was real. For example, she is able to wear drawn clothing, drive sketched cars, and drink painted beverages. Except for animals and people, any drawn objects become animated when in contact with SCP-085, but immediately ceases and holds position once out of contact. Artwork initially depicted as in motion, such as ocean waves and swaying trees, animate to an equilibrium state and stay at rest until acted upon by SCP-085. SCP-085 has also demonstrated the ability to transfer from one sheet of paper or image to another, as long as the two are flush. In the event that SCP-085 enters a picture that does not support drawn objects, such as a repeating pattern, the picture is converted to a background image. SCP-085 perceives the picture as an endless plane of the image drawn upon it. At the present time, SCP-085 can only exist upon paper or canvas surfaces. SCP-085 cannot transfer into photos, cardboard, glass, or parchment. When entering other pieces of art, SCP-085 takes on the artistic style of her new environment, whether it be a comic book, an oil painting, watercolor, or charcoal sketching. Note, in comic form, her voice is visible as thought and voice bubbles around her head in typical comic fashion, and as she moves between panels, the perspectives and her relative size are altered appropriately. Document 085-1. Introduction to several prints authored by M.C. Escher. Researcher: Cassandra, this is known as ascending and descending. What do you think? At this point, SCP-085 walks a few times around the staircase. SCP-085: it's pretty, I guess. Would make a neat exercise track. Researcher: you see nothing inconsistent about the staircase? SCP-085: Not as far as I can tell, it just loops up and down all the time. Why don't more staircases do that? It's pretty neat. After this session, SCP-085 requested several more impossible objects in her own environment. These requests are pending O5 review. Document 085-2 Incident 085-A. Prior to blank blank blank, SCP-085 was unaware of its status as a two-dimensional object in a three-dimensional world. Prior security protocols require that SCP-085 is kept unaware of its true nature in order to prevent psychological distress. Discrepancies with the perceived real world were presented as dreams or nightmares, and an effort was made to present SCP-085 with a scenario in which it was the last surviving human in a post-apocalyptic world searching for survivors. The deception was quickly broken following an incident where an SCP Foundation researcher accidentally brought a hard copy of SCP-085's Special Containment Procedures report into the containment facility and allowed it to contact the artifact's current location. SCP-085 transferred onto the document before the researcher could remove it and was immediately made aware of its true nature. Because of the containment breach, several researchers advocated immediate destruction of the artifact. The decision was appealed to the O5 Council, which, in a blank-to-blank decision, advocated for SCP-085's continued existence. Since the revelation of her true nature, observers have noted that SCP-085 has begun to show signs of clinical depression. Psychotherapy has been proposed, but the nature of the artifact's state of existence may make it difficult. Some success has been had by providing SCP-085 tangible means to distract herself from her condition. In addition to the aforementioned optical illusions, SCP-085 expressed particular interest in a set of technical drawings for a 1964 Ford Mustang convertible, transferring the parts one by one to a more naturalistic artwork, then assembling the vehicle by hand over the period of a year. Gasoline being provided through a Norman Rockwell print of a gas station attendant. Requests for further diversions of this nature are pending O5 level review and approval. That is the end of SCP-085 on to SCP-086. SCP-086, Object Class Safe. No. Euclid. No. Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-086 is contained within Office A-19 at Bioresearch Station 771. The secretarial post outside the door is to be staffed by one armed guard. All components of SCP-086 are to be kept within 6 meters of each other. SCP-086-1 is to be kept on the office desk with a single connection to the telephone at the secretary's post. All communications between SCP-086 and personnel are to be recorded, transcribed, and archived. Every 6 days, SCP-086-2 is to be used to sharpen 4 standard commercially purchased 16 centimeters HB pencils, continuing until at least 95% of the mass of the pencil has been converted into pencil shavings. SCP-086-2 is not to be emptied until, or even if personnel judge that it has become clogged. In such an eventuality, personnel are to wait 10 minutes and then resume sharpening. Every 7 days, SCP-086-3 is to be filled with a block of 200 standard commercially purchased staples. Every 20 days, SCP-086-4 is to be filled with 15 sheets of standard commercially purchased microfilm is crossed out, and instead, blank cellulose acetate film produced on site. SCP-086-5 is to be drained of water matter whenever it fills more than halfway. The water matter is to be incinerated. All reading material requested by SCP-086 must be approved by Site Command. All research proposals made by SCP-086 must be approved by 205 level personnel. Description: SCP-086 is a collective sensile organism organism whose component parts resemble items of office equipment from 1978, and which contains a consciousness claiming to be that of former Foundation administrator Dr. Redacted, 1907 to 1978. Its 8 components are a rotary telephone, a wall-mounted pencil sharpener, a desk stapler, a microfiche reader, a water cooler, a filing cabinet, a calculator, and a slide rule. No physical connection or electromagnetic transmission between any of these components has been detected. Each component of SCP-086 is composed of biological material, contained within a carapace made of varying amounts of chitin, keratin, and calcium carbonate, as well as trace amounts of nylon, rayon, and polyester. DNA analysis reveals that the tissues contained within SCP-086 are partially of human origin and data expunged. SCP-086-1 contains a large mass of neural tissue which functions as a brain, despite several conformational and atomical irregularities. These brain host the majority of SCP-086's consciousness. I'm going to take 1 second to do something. Okay. SCP-086-1 also contains an ear equivalent, tympanum, ossicles, etc., in the receiver's mouthpiece, allowing SCP-086 to hear. SCP-086 is able to speak in an exact match of Dr. Redacted's voice and accent via the earpiece, though radiological and ultrasound examination has not revealed any laryngetical structures, or laryngeal structures. SCP-086-1 is also capable of ringing. However, SCP-086 has stated that ringing gives it a headache. Consequently, the only circumstances under which it rings are when awakening from sleep, at which point it rings twice in rapid succession, and when in distress, at which point it rings SOS in Morse code. SCP-086-2, 3, and 4 function as food intake organisms. SCP-086-2 consumes pencil shavings, SCP-086-3 consumes staples, and SCP-086-4 consumes microfilm. SCP-086-5 functions as a combination bladder and bowel equivalent, storing metabolic wastes. SCP-086-6 contains several organs which appear to combine sensory and manipulatory functions. SCP-086 has proven capable of reading printed material and physically manipulating small items, for instance, turning pages and alphabetizing documents, when they are placed within SCP-086-6. At SCP-086's request, it is regularly provided with non-classified reading material and non-classified clerical work. The biological functions of SCP-086-7 and -8 have not been determined. However, SCP-086 has stated that it experiences significant discomfort and confusion when they are removed from its vicinity, and it is therefore speculated that they have some role in its cognition. Although SCP-086-7 accepts input, its output seems to be random glyphs and LED noise. SCP-086 has demonstrated that it has full access to Dr. Redacted's memories, and all tests indicate a 100% match with pre-existing psychological profiles of Dr. Redacted. However, SCP-086 has pointed out that there is no way to confirm that it actually thinks of itself as Dr. Redacted, and that it may be an alien intelligence expertly posing as Dr. Redacted, or a sleeper persona which sincerely believes itself to be Dr. Redacted. Acquisitions Log. SCP-086 is presumed to have been created on June 12, 1978, when Dr. Redacted was presumably killed by the PN-class events resulting from the decommissioning of SCP-blank. On June 20, 1978, Dr. Redacted's office was being emptied by maintenance personnel so that it could be assigned to his successor. At this point, SCP-086-1 began ringing repeatedly, despite not being connected to a telephone jack. Maintenance personnel notified Level 3 operatives, who answered SCP-086-1. During the subsequent conversation, SCP-086 identified itself as Dr. Redacted and then ordered Level 3 personnel to revoke its security clearance and to make a full report of its existence and properties to O5 level personnel. Dr. Redacted was given a posthumous commendation for meritorious conduct in either reporting himself as an SCP or in influencing the anomalous entity emulating his behavior into doing so. Note, and this is crossed out, SCP-086 was originally classified as safe, but it has stated that because it is a sapient entity with anomalous biological and metabolism, and with access to full memories of an SCP Foundation administrator who previously had Level 4 security clearance, it should be classified as Euclid. After the crossed out portion, there's another note saying, although we appreciate SCP-086's consciousness, there is at this time no pressing reason to classify it as Euclid. If circumstances change, we'll reconsider. And that is by 05-blank. That is the end of SCP-086, on to SCP-087. SCP-087 Object Class Euclid Special Containment Procedures. SCP-087 is located on the campus of Redacted. The doorway leading to SCP-087 is constructed of reinforced steel with a electro-release lock mechanism. It has been disguised to resemble a janitorial closet consistent with the design of the building. The lock mechanism on the doorknob will not release unless blank bolts are applied in conjunction with counterclockwise rotation of the key. The inside of the door is lined with 6 centimeters of industrial foam padding. Due to the results of the final exploration, see document 087-IV, no personnel are permitted access to SCP-087. Description: SCP-087 is an unlit platform staircase. Stairs descend on a 38-degree angle for 13 steps before reaching a semicircular platform of approximately 3 meters in diameter. Descent direction rotates 180 degrees at each platform. The design of SCP-087 limits subjects to a visual range of approximately 1.5 meters. Or flights, sorry. A light source is required for any subjects exploring SCP-087, as there are no lighting fixtures or windows present. Lighting sources brighter than 75 watts have been shown to be ineffective, as SCP-087 seems to absorb excess light. Subjects report and audio recordings confirm the distressed vocalizations from what is presumed to be a child between the ages of blank and blank. The source of the distressed calls is estimated to be approximately 200 meters below the initial platform. However, any attempts to descend the staircase have failed to bring subjects closer to the closer to the source. The depth of descent calculated from Exploration IV, the longest exploration, is shown to be far beyond the possible structure of both the building and geological surroundings. At this time, it is unknown if SCP-087 has an endpoint. SCP-087 has undergone 4 video-recorded explorations by D-Class personnel. Each subject conducting an exploration has encountered SCP-087-1, which appears to be a face with no visible pupils, nostrils, or mouth. The nature of SCP-087-1 is entirely unclear, but it has been determined that it is not the source of the pleading. Subjects exhibit feelings of intense paranoia and fear when faced with SCP-087-1, but it is undetermined whether said feelings are abnormal or simply natural reactions. Addendum. Over a period of 2 weeks following Exploration IV, several members of the staff and students from Redacted Campus reported knocking at a variable rate of 1 to 2 seconds per knock coming from the interior of SCP-087. The door leading to SCP-087 has been retrofitted with 6 centimeter thick industrial padding. All reports of knocking have ceased. Authorized personnel may refer to documents 087-1 through 087-IV for 087-4 for transcripts of explorations 1 through 4. Document 087-1. Document 087-1 Exploration 1. D-8432 is a 43-year-old Caucasian male of average build and appearance, unremarkable psychological background, D-class and unremarkable psychological background. Class D designation is a result of demotion due to mishandling SCP blank. D-8432 is equipped with a 75-watt flood lamp with battery power capable of lasting 24 hours and handheld camcorder fitted with a transmission stream, and an audio headset for communication with Dr. Blank at control. D-8432 steps through the doorway onto the initial platform. Despite the wattage, the flood lamp only illuminates the first 9 steps. The second platform is not visible. D-8432. It's fucking dark. Dr. Blank. Is your flood lamp functioning properly? D-8432 shines the lamp out the door and into the academic building's hallway. The light reaches significantly further. D-8432. Yeah, it's working. It's just these lights... it just won't light these stairs all the way down. Dr. Blank. Thank you. Please continue. D-8432 descends for 13 steps before reaching the second platform. The platform is in the shape of a semicircle with an apparently concrete surface and walls. There are no distinct markings aside from the nondescript patches of dirt, dust, and wear consistent with that which is found in a typical concrete stairwell. D-8432 rotates 180 degrees to begin descent down the second flight, then pauses. Dr. Blank. Reason for stopping? D-8432. Do you hear that? There's a fucking kid down there. Sounds like one. None of the described audio is feeding through the camera or mic at this time. Dr. Blank. Could you please describe the sound? D-8432. It's young. Either female or a very young boy. It's crying and sobbing and saying, please help. Please. Yeah, it keeps repeating that and crying. Dr. Blank. Can you estimate its distance from your current location? D-8432. Fuck, I don't know, maybe 200 meters down? Dr. Blank. Please continue down the next flight. Subject descends another 13 steps as he reaches the landing. Audio of the child is, as described, is picked up. The child alternates between sobbing, wailing, and the words, please, help, and down here. The level of audio is consistent with D-8432's report of it being approximately 200 meters down. Dr. Blank. Can you still hear the crying? D-8432. Yeah? Dr. Blank. We're picking it up as well. Please continue down. Stop if you notice any changes in the audio or environment. The subject descends another 3 flights of stairs before stopping. D-8432. Keep going? Dr. Blank. Please. D-8432 continues another 17 flight. Total of 22 flights before stopping. There are no visual changes in the environment, and each flight has been a consistent 13 steps. D-8432. I'm not getting any fucking closer to the kid. I'm not getting any fucking closer to the kid. Stereo audio confirms that the crying noise has not increased in volume and remains approximately 200 meters below the subject. Dr. Blank. Noted. Please continue. The subject continues another 28 flights before stopping, 50 flights in total. D-8432 is standing on the 51st landing, continuing the initial ground level landing. D-8432 is estimated to be 200 meters below the initial platform. 34 meters have elapsed. The volume of the crying has not increased. D-8432. I feel a little uneasy. Dr. Blank. You spent a long time in a dark, unknown stairwell. It's natural. Please, continue. The subject hesitates before stepping down on the next stair. As the subject moves forward, the flood lamp illuminates a face located approximately at the bottom of the flight, SCP-087-1. It appears to be the same size and shape of a human head, except it is lacking a mouth, nostrils, and pupils. The face is completely motionless, but is making direct eye contact, indicating its awareness of D-8432. D-8432. Fuck, what the fuck is that? Shit, holy fucking shit, what the fuck? Dr. Blank, can you please describe what you see? D-8432. It's some sort of fucking person face thing, and it's fucking looking right the fuck, it's looking right at me. Dr. Blank, is it moving? D-8432. No, it's just staring at me. Fuck. It's creepy. Dr. Blank, please approach and further illuminate the entity. D-8432. Fuck, I don't want to fucking... The face jerks forward about 50 centimeters directly towards D-8432. D-8432, yelling, fuck, redacted. D-8432 enters a panic state and rapidly ascends SCP-087. D-8432 reaches the ground floor in 18 minutes, at which time he collapses and passes out. There is no sign of SCP-087-1. Review of the footage indicates a number of flights and steps ascending at same equal number of flights and steps ascending as descending. Audio of the crying and pleading remains at the same volume until the last flight, at which point it ceases. Medical reports indicate collapse was a result of rapid escalation of the stairs causing fatigue. End of document 084-1. Start of document 084-2. Document 087-2. Exploration Log 2. D-9035 is a 28-year-old African-American male of strong build. Physical background indicates no abnormalities except an extreme hatred for women. Subject has an extensive record of data expunged. D-9035 is equipped with a 100-watt flood lamp with battery power capable of lasting 24 hours. A handheld camcorder is fitted with a transmission stream, and no audio headset for communication with Dr. Blank at control. And an audio headset. Yeah. D-9035 is also equipped with a backpack containing 100 small LED lights with adhesive backs and battery lives of approximately 3 weeks. Lights turn on and off by compressing them. D-9035 shines the flood lamp down the first flight of stairs. Despite the extra wattage, the light does not illuminate beyond the 9th step. D-9035. You want me to go down there, Doc? Dr. Blank. Please shine your flood lamp outside of SCP-087 to verify it's functioning properly. D-9035 shines the light into the hallway. Comparison with the footage from Exploration 1 confirms it is indeed brighter. Dr. Blank. Thank you. Please continue to the first landing. D-9035. Hey, Doc, I know you said no, but I don't think I want to go there. Dr. Blank, please continue to the first landing. D-9035. Doc, look, Dr. Blank, interrupting. As per our earlier conversation, please continue to the first landing. D-9035 pauses for 18 seconds, then descends 13 steps to the first landing and stops. Is that a kid? Please remove one of the adhesive lights and affix it to the wall on the landing. Doc, you hear that? Is that a kid down there? That is unconfirmed. Please affix an adhesive light to the wall and verify it functions. D-9035 hesitates, then removes one of the lights from his backpack and adheres it to the wall. He presses on the light and it turns on. Doctor, please turn off your flood lamp. D-9035 hesitates again before turning off the lamp. The LED light illuminates the landing, but does not extend beyond the first step either way. Doctor, thank you. You may turn your flood lamp back on. Please continue to descend. At each landing, affix an LED light to the wall and turn it on. If you notice anything unusual, please report it. D-9035 turns the flood lamp back on, then descends the next flight of stairs. As he sets foot on the landing, the audio picks up sounds of pleading and crying, consistent with those of the first exploration. Dr. Blank, can you still hear the previously reported audio? Yeah, she sounds about 150, maybe 200 meters down. Am I supposed to get her? Look, Doc, I don't do good with kids. Please place the light and continue down until you notice anything unusual. The subject adheres the light to the wall and turns it on, then continues the next landing. He adheres the third LED light to the wall and turns it on. D-9035 continues in this manner for the next 25 steps before, the next 25 flights before stopping. D-9035. I don't think I'm getting any closer to the kid, Doc. How far below would you estimate the source of the sound to be? Same as before, 150 to 200 meters down. Thank you. Please proceed. D-9035 continues in the same fashion for the next 24 flights. At the 51st landing, he stops. Footage shows an arced gouge in the concrete wall, estimated to be approximately 50 centimeters long and 10 centimeters wide. The first step down the landing appears to be completely smashed into rubble. D. You see that? Doctor. Yes, can you please describe what you see? It looks like something slashed at the wall. And the step over here is all crumbling and stuff. The slash mark looks really smooth. D-9035 touches the gouge mark. Yeah, it's smooth. Feels like glass. Doctor. Thank you. Please continue down. Look, Doc, I think I've gone far enough. Please continue as per our agreement. I don't want to be doing this, agreement or not. Data expunged. D-9035 steps over the destroyed steps and continues down the staircase. Nothing is notable about the next landing. D-9035 adheres an LED light to the wall and continues in the same fashion for another 38 flights. The sound of the crying and pleading still has not gotten closer. D-9035 is on the 89th landing, and 74 minutes have elapsed from the beginning of the exploration. Subject is estimated to be 350 meters below the initial platform. D. I feel like the kid's trying to lure me down here, Doc. I think it's time for me to... D-9035 stops talking and moving as the flood lamp illuminates SCP-087-1. The face is staring directly at D-9035, again indicating awareness of the subject's presence. Although SCP-087-1 appears to be unmoving, its location is 38 flights below the initial encounter in Expedition 1, indicating it is mobile. Doctor, is there a reason you have stopped? D-9035's breathing grows labored. SCP-087-1 remains immobile for an additional 13 seconds. SCP-087-1 blinks. D-9035. Yelling, incomprehensible. SCP-087-1 jerks forward until it is approximately 90 centimeters from D-9035. Subject turns and flees up the staircase. Doctor. Please relax and calm down. Turn around. We need a closer look at the face. D-9035 ignores Dr. Blank and continues rapid ascent. He continues to scream incomprehensibly. Dr. Blank. D-9035, can you hear me? Please slow down. D-9035 is unresponsive and continues rapidly climbing the stairs. His screaming diminishes to babbling after ascending 72 flights. D-9035 collapses on the 17th landing. Doctor. D-9035, can you hear me? D-9035 is unresponsive, but labored breathing can be heard through the audio feed. For the next 14 minutes, D-9035 is immobile. The visual feed is black, and the audio picks up only the subject's breathing and the continuous pleadings coming from below. After 14 minutes and 32 seconds of unchanging visual and audio feeds, the sounds of a rapid heartbeat not consistent with a human heartbeat and low cracking noises heard. 7 seconds later, D-9035 gasps and revives, continuing his ascent up the stairs rapidly and wordlessly. The heartbeat and cracking cease, and nothing abnormal is detected on the visual feed. He remains unresponsive. D-9035 exits SCP-087 and sits on the floor outside the entrance. D-9035 then enters a catatonic state from which he has not yet recovered. End of document 087-1 or 2. Just gonna get that wrong every time. Document 087-3. Exploration 3. D-9884 is a 23-year-old female of average build and appearance. Psychological background indicates a history of depression. Subject has a minimal record of using excessive force to data expunge. D-9848 or 9884 is equipped with a 75-watt flood lamp with battery power capable of lasting 24 hours, a handheld remote camcorder fitted with a transmission stream, and an audio headset for communication with Dr. Blank at control. D-9884 is also equipped with a backpack containing 3.75 liters of water, 15 nutrition bars, and 1 thermal blanket. D-9884 stands on the ground level landing of SCP-087. The flood lamp illuminates only the first 9 steps. LED lights placed on the wall during the last exploration are not visible. Dr. Blank, please descend the first flight and examine the landing wall. D-9884 descends 13 steps and stops at the landing. There is no trace of the LED light at the location footage from Exploration 2 indicates it was placed. D-9884. Yeah, it's just a dirty wall. Concrete wall. Yeah, it's just a dirty concrete wall. There's, nothing on it. No, wait, there's a little bit of sticky right here. D-9884 indicates the spot on the wall the LED light should have been located. D-9884. There's a child crying down there. She's begging for help and crying. Doctor, thank you. Please continue down the steps until you notice anything unusual. D-9884 descends. Upon reaching the next landing, audio of the crying child, consistent with the prior 2 explorations, is picked up. No LED lights appear to be present on any of the landing walls. D-9884 continues with no incident until she reaches the 17th landing. Ew, there's something on the ground here and it smells really bad. And it's all sticky and stuck under my shoe. Oh, it's so gross. Video feed confirms presence of substance occupying a space approximately 50 centimeters in diameter. Can you describe the scent? It's kind of smells like old rusty metal and pee. Thank you. Please continue until you notice anything else. D-9884 continues to the 51st landing without incident. The 51st landing remains unchanged from the previous expedition, and similar observations are made. D-9884 is asked again to descend until anything unusual is noticed. Subject continues her descent until the 89th landing is reached. The video feed jerks and the subject yells. There's a hole in the ground. I almost fell. Video feed confirms the presence of a hole 1 meter in diameter. The subject shines the floodlight down, revealing only blackness. Approximately 4 seconds pass, and the light of an indeterminate distance down the hole flickers on for approximately 2 seconds, and then back off. D-9884. There's a light down there. It's gone now. But it was on for like a second. Did you see it? Yes. Can you estimate the depth of the hole? No way, it's too deep. At least a kilometer, like way more than a kilometer. Thank you. Can you still hear the sounds of the child? She still sounds far away. I don't feel like I'm getting any closer. It's like every step I take, she takes one more. Or she takes one down. Please continue down until you encounter anything unusual. D-9884 continues to descend SCP-087 for approximately an hour, covering an additional 164 flights. She stops to rest on the 253rd landing, consuming 1 nutrient bar and several gulps of water. D-9884 is at an estimated 1.1 kilometers below the initial landing, yet the sound of the child has not changed in volume. After pausing for 4 minutes, D-9884 resumes her descent, making no stops for another 216 flights. 1.5 hours later, D-9884 is on the 469th landing, nice, and an approximate 1.8 kilometers below the ground level. I'm not getting anywhere. I think it's time I went back. I mean, going down is one thing, but it's a long climb back up. You have been provided with food, water, and blankets to last you 24 hours. Please continue down. No, I think I'm going back up. D-9884 turns towards the previous flight of stairs. Screaming. SCP-087-1, the face, is directly behind D-9884, blocking her ascent. The face appears approximately 30 centimeters from the lens of the camera. Its eyes are fixed directly on the lens, this time looking not at the subject, but the person viewing the video feed. The video feed glitches and freezes for 4 seconds, accompanied by a static-like screeching noise from the audio feed. It then cuts to bumpy visuals of D-9884 descending the stairs rapidly. D-9884, panicked and hysterical. It's been following me the whole time. It's right behind me. Oh God, it's right behind me. It's looking at me. Dr. Blank, please do something. Please, oh God, please no. Please, oh wait, please. No, I knew it was following me. Help, make it, please, no. It was looking at me. It was staring at me. I knew it was watching me the whole time. Oh God, please help me. No, please. This continues in a similar fashion until the end. D-9884 continues to scream and plead hysterically as she rapidly descends the staircase. The previously heard static-like screeching seems to overlay the audio feed, beneath which can still be heard the original sound of a crying child. Approximately 14 flights down, the video feed swings to show the area directly behind D-9884. The face is now approximately 20 centimeters from the camera lens. It is not staring at the subject, rather it is affixed to the camera lens, giving it the illusion it is making eye contact with those viewing the footage. It is important to note that since the sighting of SCP-087-1, the sound of the girl crying and pleading has increased in volume, indicating D-9884 is nearing the source. After an approximate 150 panicked flights of descent with 3 visual confirmations of SCP-087-1 still in pursuit, D-9884 trips and appears to fall unconscious. The audio feed indicates strong proximity to the source of the crying. The static and screeching noise continue. Video feed shows yet another descending flight of stairs, indicating D-9884 still has not reached the base of the stairwell. 12 seconds of motionless pass before the face comes into full view of the camera, eye contact being made directly with the viewer. Audio and video feed cut out and no connection is reestablished. That is the end of document 087-3, and document 087-4 is expunged, so that makes it the end of SCP-087. We're at the end of our hour now, and I'd like to thank you very much for coming along. It's always a joy to have people here listening to me, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch. For those of you on Twitch, if you haven't already, I'd encourage a follow. For those of you on YouTube, if you enjoyed, I'd recommend a like if you like, and a subscribe if you want to see more in the future. I release SCP files for SCP numbers every weekend right now, and I release videos from the series, I believe it is Resurrection, every Tuesday and Thursday currently. If you haven't already, please check out the other videos, and thank you again very much for coming. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and goodbye.